Welcome back, folks. All right. Yeah. So last week, price action, last trading week rather, where we have non-farm payroll, and the non-farm payroll came out not as expected. It came out bad, and as a result of that, we saw the DXY really dropping on Friday. But for notice, from Monday to Thursday, we didn't see much of a delivery, mainly due to the NFP. And if we should look at it, this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So you can see this trade, this right here was more like a ranging markets. All right, until Friday, where we had much decent run. And if you look at also Monday, we also have a decent movement, but from Tuesday, Wednesday, not really much, honestly. Right here, the two days that really stand out is Monday and Friday. And I always tell this to my guys that, okay, if you want to trade the market and there's NFP that week, I always tend to apply the NFP Monday NFP protocol, where if we have NFP on Friday, then you can trade Monday, because Monday always tends to be volatile. Monday, Tuesday, anywhere Wednesday marks, you have to stop trading and allow the market, because the market is really going to go into consolidation, and then because of the NFP. But sometimes you get to see the market making a good movement on Thursday, but that is very rare to see. So we don't have to engage something that is rare. We need something that's quite consistent, and Monday is quite consistent given that we have NFP on Friday. So for the Monday, I really scanned for opportunity, but there wasn't that opportunity presented. But although for Friday we had something that we anticipated. And like I said, if you watch my previous video where I talked about just taking the simple trading approach, and it's just simply using an order block, rejection block, an old high, old low, yeah. But for this week, I used an order block, and I told you that you can start with an order block and just start from there. But it's easy to trade it. Now, every week before the market opens, I look for an order block, I look for a rejection block, I look for an old high, and I just simply delineate this horizontal line on it. And once I do that, I will now simply wait for price to get to those level, form an SMT around that place, and I will just get to capitalize on the movement. And that is just it. It's not that complicated. Although you might find kind of a bit of stress, is your target, which is very essential, right? Now, if you are going with target, it's also not really that stressful, because once we have price, okay, if you're using an order block, for example, okay, let's say this is an order block. Okay, now when price reach for this order block, we now have to look to the left. What is it that we think price can reach for and can retrace from? All right, this is a daily chart. Like I said, the only time we go down below the daily chart is when we want to execute. So everything that we are doing is on the daily and the weekly chart. Now, if we look at price right here, we can see that this right here is an order block. Okay, so when we stretch it here, I like to mark the body of the candle, and I also like to have the wick also, which is very important. And I also love to measure the wick. Okay, I can measure the wick for you, and you will see just something like I do this all the time. I measure the body, from the body to the wick. That is the consequent encroachment of the wick, because that place is quite yeah. Okay, let me leave this. Yeah, so that level is quite sensitive. So now, if we are to trade from this level, then we can look for the nearest level that price can reach for. All right, and this level is an order block, so we can anticipate price to reach for this level, and then we can anticipate price to reach for this monthly, week, consequent encroachment, or rather we can just look for this, because this right here are all liquidities right here, so we can have price that, okay, if it is to continue keep going higher, then we want to anticipate price to reach for this level. But for you being a day trader, you just simply want to look for something that is close. Okay, so now whenever you have as a day trader, this is your like long term. Okay, when price gets to this level, you want to shut down the trade or collapse any trade and allow price to do what it needs to do again. But for a day trader that you are, once you have your level, price is at the level, let's say is at this level, that is, say, another block, for example. Now you want to look down to the time frame you're executing on. If you're executing on the 15-minute time frame, then you want to look for liquidities above. As simple as that. So now once we go down to this level, okay, I will show you just what I mean right here. Okay, so once you look at this level, you can see that, okay, when price got to this level, we are looking for an SMT. All right, so if you're looking for an SMT, then you need to look for a liquidity that is resting above. And if you really look at it, you can see right here is a, that's a double top right there. So that is a bunch of liquidity resting above. So you can simply just aim for that place and you are done for the day. That is just you being a day trader. So you can go in, go out. Now for this week, that is the NFP. There are things that I look for, okay, and it's just the same thing that I told you. I simply mark my levels and allow price to come to that level, look for an SMT, and then I just aim for the opposite level. Now on Monday, we have this range right here. So price was still between this range. I was anticipating that maybe if we should trade above this bearish order block, I can use it to go long, but we didn't get that. And on Wednesday we opened and we're still in the range of Monday, so I consider that to be a liquidity. Now Thursday is we avoid Thursday. So I was looking at Friday. Now Friday price came to this weekly order block. Let me go down, go up to the weekly. Now you can see this is my order block, which I delineated on the weekly time frame. Now I have that, and I also have this fair value gap price, which tapped to it last week, and you can see how price delivered upward. Now I was anticipating that, in fact, I would lie to you, I was looking for this week to give me this high, to deliver that high right here, but I maybe anticipated too much from the price. I was looking to see price get to this level, but we didn't get that. Now although next week we could get something like that. Okay, so when price dropped to this level on Friday before NFP, it was quite interesting. It was an interesting delivery that happened right at place before the NFP. That was about 6:45 New York time. We see price got to this level on Thursday. On Thursday. Then we see price driving higher on Friday. Now we see price take out the low, take out this low right here. All right, so it took out this low right here, but if we should check the Euro USD, we will see that it's an entire different story. Now I was looking at the price and we have this same low, which is around this here. So we didn't take it out, we did not. That right there is simply price telling us smart money are actively trading and price is set to deliver the opposite direction. That is how it works. Now I just don't look at SMT at just for SMT sake. I have these levels. Once price get to these levels, that's when I use my SMT. So an SMT is just a confirmation tool to me. It's not a strategy to me. You have to understand that SMT is not a strategy. Don't treat SMT as a strategy, because you will see so many SMT. If you start looking at this chart, you will find so many SMTs happening. Where SMT is important is when you have these levels, you have already put these levels on your chart, and now you can anticipate that when SMT happen on that level that you've delineated on your chart, then you can anticipate price to start delivering low to the opposite direction, which you've seen in this GBP. On this GBP USD rather, we have price failing to take out this low on the Euro USD, which is a cracking correlation. And how I do get my entry is, once we have that simple cracking correlation, once we have this low being swept out, I just start looking for an order block or a change of state and delivery, which is the same thing as another block. We have this bearish candlestick and we have price trading above. Once price trade above here, I'm not waiting for a retracement. Once price trade above this bearish candle, I'm taking my trade. And you can see how even price drove higher and drop down to this order block before taking off. But for me, once price get to this level, once price trades above that level, I'm simply buying from that level. And you can see how we can put our buy here, and we have our stop loss just right below this, and you can see that we have bunch of liquidity resting above. You can see this is an old high. When we pick it up, and you can see we are having a simple 1:9 risk to reward ratio. So that is it. This is the best setup for this week. There is no setup that is as amazing as this setup for last trading week. So I hope you find this video to be very insightful, and I will anticipate that, or I should expect you that once you finish watching this video, you go back to your chart every single week, go back to last month or last trading week, look at the daily chart, look at the weekly chart, all right, delineate, and or just, okay, this is your assignment. You should check this as an assignment. You go back to your weekly chart for the last 4 trading weeks, okay. You look at the weekly, you look at the daily. On the weekly, you delineate any other block that is very obvious for you, all right. You look at the week daily here, you get an order block, the rejection block, and old high. Or in fact, to make it even much more simpler for you, since you are just starting, you should just look for an order block on the daily and the weekly time frame. You delineate that and you wait for price to reach for that level. Once you look at price reaching for that order block, you anticipate an SMT to happen around that level. So once price get to that level, you look at other correlating pairs and then see how an SMT form, and watch how price used an order block to deliver higher, or watch how price after trading above a down close candle or up close candle, you will see how price immediately deliver to the opposite direction. So I hope you found this video to be very insightful, and I will see you in another video.